Okay, are you pet poor? We're definitely going to talk about this one, but before we do, if you find my content valuable, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. Now I'm going to turn the camera around here for 1 second. We're actually at the Rio Grande Valley Premium Outlets. And I'm just going to actually sit right here on a bench that they have here. Let me get the camera situated here. And we're going to talk about this. Are you pet poor? Well, we're going to go over some statistics here, okay? And I already know, but before I start this, pets are a very, very touchy subject because your pet or whatever animal you have at a home as your companion is a member of the family. So as we talk about this, I'm definitely going to be sensitive to that. But having said that, you also need to think about how the cost of having your pet impacts you so that you can be in the best shape for yourself as well as for your pet. Now let's get into some statistics here, okay? 15% of pet owners here in the US experience pet poverty, okay? This is where they're struggling to pay their basic needs and to care for their pet. The Humane Society also has some information or stats here. 43% of pet owners, have been unable to pay for pets' needs due to financial stress. So 43% have been unable to pay for their pets' needs due to financial stress. Now 20%, 1 in 5 American pet owners carry at least $2,000 in pet-related debt. This is quite a statistic. 1 in 5, 20% of American pet owners carry about $2,000 in pet-related debt. Why I think this is so significant is I always talk about having a starter emergency fund. At least $2,000 in something like a high-yield savings account would save you from actually going into debt for pet-related expenses, okay? So let's go on to another stat here. 37% of pet owners have gone into debt to pay vet bills or veterinarian bills, okay? Again, that's 37% of pet owners have gone into debt to pay for vet bills, okay? Now, another stat here, 68% of pet debt is caused by unexpected medical emergencies. 68% of the time you're having an unexpected medical emergency for your pet that is causing debt. An estimated 20 million pets in the U.S. live in poverty alongside their families. 20 million of these pets are living in poverty alongside the families that they're actually living with, okay? 70% of pets in lower income households miss out on seeing a veterinarian. Now, what do you think happens when you do not see a veterinarian to take care of your pet, okay? That means that many problems that might be able to be treated become advanced before they're able to be treated. Just like for us human beings, if you don't have checkups every once in a while, or at least I think it's often recommended at least once a year to have a physical and be checked out as a human, some very, very serious diseases can progress and then they're untreatable later. So that's a big thing. Now, what about the cost, okay? Basic pet care costs between $400 and costs between $40 and $200 per month. So basic pet care can cost anywhere from $40 a month to $200 per month, okay? And this includes things like food, litter or waste bags, okay? Flea, tick, and heartworm prevention, toys and supplies, okay? And pet insurance. Now, we'll digress a little bit to talk about pet insurance. It's just like health insurance for you. If you don't have pet insurance and you aren't self-insured, which I highly recommend that, having money set aside for your actual pet in something like a high yield savings account so that you're self-insured. But if you're not self-insured and don't have pet insurance and these emergencies come up, that's how people end up in debt for a pet emergency, okay? So when you look at all of these things, let's take that number, the higher number, the monthly higher number, $200 a month. And if you have multiple pets, you're definitely probably going to fall in the category, you're most likely going to fall in the category to where you're more towards that $200 a month that you're spending on pet expenses. And if it's preventing you, this is my big thing, okay? I always talk about having at least $200, $2,000 rather, saved in something like a high yield savings account. If you don't have that $2,000 saved, okay, if you are not getting rid of that high interest consumer debt, things like credit cards and things like that, if you haven't taken advantage of the company match at work, if you have something like a 401k, if you haven't gone further to go ahead and have 3 to 6 months of emergency expenses taken care of for yourself to where you can respond to any larger emergencies. And then while you're getting that 3 to 6 months, if you aren't already starting to build some wealth during that process, then you're really putting yourself in a position to where you don't have financial control and you don't have the ability to become debt-free and ultimately financially free. And this is not good for you personally. And if you have pets, it's also not good for your pets for all of the reasons we described, so that you're not ready to take care of them in a way to where they have good health through a lifetime, to where you're deferring them seeing a veterinarian. They're maybe not getting the best care and the best food and so on because you haven't taken care of yourself. As I think about this, I think about when you're on a flight and they go through everything that you do when there's an emergency. And if the cabin loses pressure and you get those oxygen masks coming down, they often say make sure you put your oxygen mask on first before you help your child in the next seat. Why? Because if you lose consciousness and you don't take care of yourself and get that mask on your face, you will be unable to be in a position to where you can take care of the child. The same thing here with your pet. You want to put yourself in a good, solid financial position so that you can adequately take care of your pet. Now, there's two choices that you basically have if you already have an animal and you're in this situation to where you're basically pet poor, where you can't respond to all of the needs and take care of your pet in a fashion that you should be. You have two choices. One, you either want to control the expenses that you have taking care of your pet, one, or look at ways to where you can increase your income in order to cover that, to take care of the pet's needs, as well as to put yourself in a position to where you're doing better and you can take care of your pet's needs as well. So how can you lower expenses? Maybe as you're buying things that your pet needs, dog food if you have a dog, whether you're buying these flea and tick collars, all of these different things, maybe look for coupons, shop around. Don't just go in and buy whatever is available, but shop around and make sure that you're getting the best deal on whatever it is that you need for your pet, okay? The other thing that you can do is maybe look at other discounts that may be available, like buying online things that you need rather than going in store, because sometimes that can be cheaper for you. Also, you can look at ways to pick up, like I said, number two, more income. Maybe there's a side hustle that you can participate in, or maybe there are other things that you can do to actually bring in a little bit of extra income so that you can cover your pet's needs, as well as get these things in line that I'm talking about, having $2,000 saved, going through actually looking at your high interest debt, okay? Also, I always talk about taking advantage of the 401k if you have that at work, and so on. And getting to the point where you have 3 to 6 months worth of expenses taken care of, and you're investing at the same time to actually get to the point to where you have control of your finances, you get out of debt, and you're able to build wealth, okay? So a side hustle or a little bit of extra income, or on your job, looking to advance on your job so that you have a few more resources to take care of yourself and also hopefully to take care of your pet. But let's say that you're in a situation to where you really are pet poor, where owning this pet, even though it is a part of the family, is putting you in a position to where you're, how do I put this, in real trouble. You're in dire straits financially. Well, there's a few things that you can actually look at that might be able to help you in that particular situation, okay? One of the things that you can do is consider a new home for your pet. Maybe a family member or a friend can take your pet in. That can either be a temporary situation or a long-term situation, okay? It can be one or the other. But you want to at least consider this if you're really in dire straits, if you're having difficulty taking care of the pet and also taking care of your own financial needs. Being able to take care of the basics, food and shelter for yourself. If you're unable to do that, you might want to consider that, okay? So a family or a friend taking it in. And if you don't have a family or a friend rather that can take it in, another thing that you can look at is to use rehoming platforms, like the rehome platform by Adopt a Pet, okay? Or Home to Home. These are organizations that can find a good family to take, or person to take your pet. It's a better way to vet where your pet will be going. You also want to, when you are using these forms, to have a good overview of the pet that you have, how well they're trained, all of that sort of thing, if you got them shots or whatever, so that the person who is then picking up that pet from these organizations that do a good job of vetting know what they're actually getting as far as your pet is concerned. The bottom line is that you want to open up your critical thinking. You don't want to just close the window and say, oh, I love my pet, so I'm not going to evaluate this. I'm just going to throw it to the side and hope that things go well, because I don't want to face actually losing my pet, okay? That may be the very thing that causes you to lose the pet in the end, because you have no way of actually taking care of the pet because you didn't do the planning. You didn't go through the critical thinking and the steps and the process to actually put yourself in a position to where you can keep your pet and have the best outcome in this situation. I hope that this helps. Definitely always take a look at your financial situation and how you might be able to improve it. And if you're in a situation like we're talking about here, where you're pet poor, take some action. Evaluate where you're at. Make a change so that you can improve your situation. Again, if you find my content valuable, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. Thanks again for listening.